We too often bury people far too fast. I'm not talking about going to your local cemetery. I'm not talking about signing an interment authorization or finding pallbearers and all those things. But there are literally times where we see a person fall, a person take a setback, and we bury them. We say, that's it. It's a wrap. Their good is done. Their goose is cooked. Somewhere in the confines of the first 7 verses of the 11th chapter in the Gospel of St. John, uh, Jesus' words ring. This sickness is not unto death, but that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. I was thinking of a guy, a preacher. He took a real tough slap a couple years, about 5, 6 years back, and people wrote him off. They wrote him off good. Uh, he was, he'd come into a group of people and they would just walk away. Well, that preacher now is in a position of power. And all of a sudden, people's memories uh, got bad about how they treated him. And now they need his favor because if you want to get to a certain person of power, you have to go through him. Think of all the folks that wrote that man off. Folks, in a world where you got people with resilience, people who know how to get up and dust themselves off, because any champion in any arena in life the uh, has had the experience of taking a fall, taking a hit, taking a setback. But the thing is that you don't sit in your setback. You just come back. I see this happening so many times because I see it happen in the business world too. So it's not just a I'm gonna preach to you message. I've seen time after time that this guy is the low run or this guy got kicked out, booted out, whatever, until that guy's guy gets in power, or that lady's lady, or that guy's lady gets in power, and all of a sudden, the guy that you wrote off, the guy that you buried, the guy that you had the pallbearers, the guy that you had a whole lot of soft talking and slow walking about, they're right back in a position of power, and it's just amazing sometimes because uh, the last few years of COVID has hurt some businesses drastically, but it has also helped some businesses. If you're in the death care industry, your business went up by by a great percentage. But hey, there's a day of reckoning coming. Did you do right while that time was on, or did you do wrong? Car business, you know, I even heard that there's people that are putting addendum stickers because of the shortage of cars. Addendums on of 40 grand or more. Yeah, people are paying that. They're so uh, anxious for a vehicle in this season that they want to buy that dream car and they're paying it. But there comes a day where things are going to normal up. Things are going to come back to normal. And what you did in a time of a crisis, you're going to regret. I always talk about those in business who capitalize on seasons because seasons are cyclical. Because the Bible in Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1, it said, to everything there's a season and a time and a purpose for everything under the sun. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to whatever it is. Sooner or later, that person that you're burying is about to have their season again. Are you going to be the person that threw the dirt on them? Are you going to be the person that kicked them when they were down? Because people that go down, they don't have to stay down. You know, they might be like the weevils. They may wobble and weevil. Weevils may wobble, but they're going to come right back up. I'm talking to you. Be careful who you bury in business. Life has a lot of turns. Life has some seasons. And some people that you bury, their death that you're talking about and whispering about is set up by God. In certain circles of the church, when you've been around a person of power, I served Bishop Patterson, who became the presiding bishop of an entire denomination. So, uh, regardless of what church organization or not, you have your organization's politics. And time after time, I heard that this guy's dead. After he's done this, he's not coming back. Or this lady's dead. She's not coming back after this. And time after time, those people made it right with God, because that's their requirement. If they did something wrong to you, they confess their faults to you. And whether you forgive them or not, that's not endemic to them making it. If they got their business right with God, we serve a God that gives second chances, that gives new mercies. So why are you burying that person? That person that has fallen in front of you, they're going to get back up. And it would make sense that it would behoove you that you would be compassionate, because somewhere in the future, you got a fall coming too. It's about this thing. Don't bury anybody before their time, because they were burying Lazarus and people were crying, and they said by now he's stinking. They were ready to get rid of him. And Jesus said those infamous words, Lazarus, come forth. You don't know what word has resonated in the head of the person that you see down today. God may have spoken a word of resurrection, a word of empowerment, a word that puts them back in line with their purpose, puts them back in line with their destiny. Watch who you bury. I know, because I'm going to confess firsthand, because I've been buried a couple times. And sometimes you burying that person makes them more determined. It summons up all of the grit, the determination, the chutzpah, the whatever that's inside of that person to burn again. Watch who you bury. Don't call the funeral home because you saw that businessman lose his job. Please don't. Because the same mind that this person set a place on fire with is the same mind that he's going to do it again, or she's going to do it again. Watch who you bury. Our problem in life is that we look at the moment and we look at the time and we don't know that this season too, it'll change. The old preacher used to say, this too shall pass. My word to you is, don't you gloat over someone else's fall. Don't you be too excited. Don't order the sprays. Don't order the casket spray, because the right person at the right time, they're just going through a down season. Everybody goes through them. But there's also a season, it says in Ecclesiastes, there's a time to build. Watch who you bury, because the person that you're burying, they're going to build, and you're going to be sitting back, be one of those folks like, how in the world did this come about? Look, I'm speaking to you. Watch who you bury. Pray for those that take a fall. Pray for those who despitefully use you. You just pray, but don't you become the funeral director. Don't you become the undertaker. Watch who you bury.